My spot. Hey, come on and sip your tea in ministry. Come taste and see. Relationships can be real developing. Laughter is medicine. Now tell me how you've been. I believe that you can win. A moment of transparency. Hey.
Welcome to the Mott Spot, a moment of transparency where you can come and share your story and we can glean from it and we can celebrate where God has brought you from. Truly, we thank God for those of you who are watching. We thank God that He's allowed us to come back. We was kind of off the set for a little while, but we're back and we just thank God for what He's going to continue to do in this time with the Mott Spot. So today I'm really excited about my guest. She's such a beautiful person, spirit inside out. She's so classy, and I love her spirit. And I think that today is going to be a great day for us to just have the dialogue that we are having. And she is none other than Anissa Howerton.
Right.
She's a licensed practice counselor, professional counselor. Amen. So truly, we just thank and praise God for her coming on and being our guest on today. So we thank you. We are so glad. So usually how I do this, I usually start off with a question.
Okay.
I would rather be. And I'll give you an opportunity to say and then possibly say why, and then I'll answer it, and we kind of go like that. We'll flow in that, and then we go into it. Okay, so my first question is, would you rather only be able to sleep for 3 hours a night or have to run a marathon each week with shoes that are too tight?
The first one.
Just 3 hours of sleep.
Yes, yeah. Compared to the marathon with heels.
With heels.
No, I couldn't.
Yeah,
do that
and not
one.
only heels, tight.
Yeah, they tight. Yeah. Give me at least 3 hours of sleep. Then.
Yes, I can get 3 hours and I can show up. But honey, I'm not gonna do nothing with no feet, with no tight shoes.
No.
Yeah, we learned that in church when we buy little cute shoes. They gotta be cute, but honey, some shoes is so cute. But I'ma tell you, they will come off during that service, and we'll put them back on at the end.
Right, you're exactly right.
Right. So I too would rather sleep for 3 hours because sometimes we get 3 hours of sleep and we still carry on. So
Exactly.
it will probably work out for us.
That's right.
Okay. Would you rather? Now this is when I read this, I was like, "Are you serious? Would you rather have knives for toes or have spaghetti for your body hair?"
Spaghetti for my body hair.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you? Why?
The spaghetti for my hair.
Your body, your body hair, wherever hair is on your body, but it'd be spaghetti.
Well, I think that if I had knives for toes, I would cut at inappropriate times.
Right.
And then I may cut something that don't need to be cut.
Right.
But if I have spaghetti for hair, then I can be more gentle with it.
Right.
And it can move and flow.
Right. That is good.
I like the hair part.
That is good. Yes.
Ease.
So I had a different outlook at it, but I really went with what she said first. But then I thought about having knives for toes, and that could be a weapon.
Yeah.
So I didn't think about like a weapon, only a weapon if I need it, not a weapon to cut people. But you gave a very good analogy of it because you could cut something that don't need to be cut.
Exactly.
And you have to be like so attentive of your step and what you're doing. It can be a distraction.
You're exactly right.
So yeah, and that's how we are in life. We get things that come and cut us, hurt us, and we end up, it distracts us. It turns our whole life upside down.
Exactly.
So that's what we do. Then we can come to people like you to help us through that process.
Exactly.
So truly, this segment is kind of dear to my heart because me being the one that will have a moment of transparency, I've been seeing a therapist for almost a year. Mm-hmm. And it has really blessed me and helped me.
Yes.
And I went through a lot of things as far as getting there.
Right.
Because you think about it, you've been in church like over 30-some years, and you're going to see a counselor. Some people shun on that, but it was one of the best things that I've done in my life, the best decision that I made for me.
Exactly.
And not just for me, but it will bless those who I'm in relationship with, because it's going to make me a better person.
Exactly.
Be the best person I can be. So what I would like to do, and I celebrate you, I'm always, because you're African American and you're a strong woman, you're a beautiful woman, and you are a leader. You know, you're a voice to many people. So I really celebrate you today, woman of God.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey, and how did you get to where you are? Tell us the before.
Okay.
Before and now.
Okay, y'all ready? Okay, well, I'm actually from East St. Louis, Illinois. I was born and raised there. And my story begins as not a very typical story. I would start off and say I was a teenage mom at 17. I had gotten married very early, around that age as well. And we had 3 children together. By the time I was 22, I was a single mom and divorced. And at this point, we were living in Georgia, because my first husband was in the military, and so his first tour of duty was in Georgia, Hinesville, Georgia. And I always think of Georgia as my Egypt, just one of those hard places in life. And so teenage mom, single mom, 22, divorced, on food stamps, on WIC. And I'm going to tell you guys what my rent was when I first got this apartment. When we had an apartment together, things had transpired, and so he was trying to get me put out. But anyway, my rent was $0 for about 3 months, and then it was $16.
Wow.
And so from there, I started doing childcare in my home because I had 3 small kids. And, you know, if I worked, everything would have went to childcare. So it was like, okay, let me start a business, a childcare business in my home. I started that business in the apartment. I was able to get a car. And then by that time, I moved to Danville. Still on food stamps, still receiving WIC. Moved to Danville, Virginia with some friends, and that's where my husband attended church. And then we started dating, and then 6 months later, we got married.
Wow.
Now, I wouldn't tell nobody to do that.
Wow.
You better know it's God if you meet somebody and you get married in 6 months' time.
Wow.
And so a lot of people don't know that part of me. You know, they just see me in this position here, but they don't know that story. And really where I've come to statistically, I should not be in this place.
Right.
Especially as a single teenager, mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Teenage mother, raised in, where the area was a very low-income area, but we lived on the outskirts of it. My parents, they worked. But the high school that I went to was gang-affiliated, drug-infested. So I shouldn't be here today.
Wow. Did y'all hear that? She shouldn't be. And I'm sitting up here thinking while she was telling the story, because I didn't know any of this. I never really sit down and talk with my guests. I let them come and share what they want to share. But you think about 17-year-old, married, divorced by the time of 22, and a single parent now with 3 kids?
3 kids.
I mean,
Stereotype, like 2 years apart, each one of them.
Like, talk about emotions and talking about mindset and talk about, but I love how it was something that was on the inside of you that made you say, I can't stay in this place. And you put it together. Okay, I have kids, let's have a daycare.
Exactly. And I want to backtrack a little bit to how my relationship with God started. And I was 19 when I had given my life to the Lord. But prior to that, I remember as a teenager, you know, having these dreams. And I felt like God was calling me. And so in that dream, it was like, okay, when I wake up, you know, I'm going to go to a church and I'm going to get saved. But then when I wake up and you start hanging around your friends, like, nah, I'll do that later.
Yeah.
But that seed was planted. There was a seed planted in me at the age of 9 when it was a family that lived across the street from me They went to a Pentecostal church. My family, we were not a church family at all. We were one of those holiday Christians. You know, you go to church on Easter. That was the main one.
Yeah.
Easter, maybe, Christmas or, one other Mother's Day. I think that was it. And so, but there was a seed that was planted in me at the age of 9. And I remember all of the kids, we had come to the altar, and they had just moved into this new building. And I just remember feeling the love of God. And I just cried. And I felt his presence. And, as you are trying to learn about God, and I remember praying this prayer when I was about 9, and I said, you know what, and my mom didn't know about it. Nobody knew about this prayer. And I said, God, I need some dresses for church so I can be able to go to church. Do you know, maybe about a week or so later, my mom came in with 3 new dresses. She called me Boo. Hey, Boo, I got you some dresses. And it was like, wow, God answers prayers.
Yes,
and I was 9 years old.
My God.
And so fast forwarded to 19 when I had given my life to Christ. And I'm sitting in my living room, and there was a scripture in Genesis. I think it's the 13th chapter of when God told Moses, he told Abraham, go to this place, go to a land that I'm going to show you. And when I show you, your name is going to be great in that place. And that was the scripture that he had given me in that apartment building. And I didn't realize that my land, because that was Egypt where I was at in Hinesville, Georgia, that this land that God was going to show me was Danville, Virginia.
Wow.
And so, and I didn't know at the time what the work was. And so I did childcare. I worked in every area of childcare, but just kind of backtrack a little bit more. When I was in the 10th grade, I had taken this psychology class. And I was like, wow, I really like this. Understanding how the human mind works. Why do we do some of the things that we do? What are we thinking about? What are our motives? And so I was thinking about that in 10th grade. And when I was about 38, maybe 20-something years later, God brought that to my remembrance. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go back to school, and I'm going to pursue a degree in counseling, professional counseling. And I want to have my own practice. And I wanted to have a solo practice. God gave me step by step what to do. It was a long-term plan, but each step of the way, I had already had my associates, and I was going for my bachelor's, doing the undergrad, and then the plan was to get the master's, and where I was employed at the time, I could start my part-time practice. And so I did that for about 2 years. And then some things on the job had transpired. You know how God, he will work some things out that will cause you to move. And so he worked some things out, and I had to move. And so that was that June or July. And so I was like, well, God, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. This was so new to me. And so immediately I looked on the internet, and I found this building, cutest little building. I said, well, it might be taken. I don't know what's going to go on with it. So anyway, I called about it. It was available. And from there, God had me, when I started the practice, to save up everything that I had. Go ahead and get you a bank, set all that up. When I started my business, I didn't need to go for a bank loan. Wow. I already had $20,000, a little over $20,000.
Wow.
And so when I started it, I was able to pay your first and last month's rent. I was able to furnish it completely with furniture, toys, because I have a play therapy room, computers, everything that I needed. God had already told me when I first started in 2016 what to do. And I worked the plan. God will give us a plan on what to do.
Right.
Okay.
We just got to work it.
We just got to work it.
Yes.
And you know what? We get so caught up in how much time it's going to take to get there and not just work the process of it. For me, my process was just getting through school. And when you decide to do something, whatever it is, whatever God calls you to do, you're going to get a lot of distractions. You're going to get a lot of things that's going to come your way to knock you off course. And how many times have people started school and they end up dropping out? Something came up. You had to do something. So I stayed the entire course, and I worked the plan. I opened the business. I was able to hire a receptionist and so forth. This makes my fourth full-time year in counseling. And this business has been a six-figure business. So you think about my story when I first started.
Yes.
17, teenage mom
Yes.
on food stamps. You know, we didn't call it TANF back then, but it was like like TANF where you got like a little supplement.
Yes.
$200 and some dollars a
yes.
month.
Yes.
You know, and WIC.
Yes.
And then now you fast forwarded to this time,
Absolutely.
making six figures in the business.
Absolutely.
That's very successful. Have a waiting list of clients.
Wow.
And now I'm looking to expand that.
Wow.
You know, even more, so that I can continue to work with more people, provide more services. Because one person you can only do but so much.
Right.
But if you have other therapists that come in, then you can double and triple that and provide more services.
That is truly amazing. I mean, because I was 18 when I got pregnant, so I know. And I had to, my senior year, I stopped going to school. You know, I got a job. And, you know, I had to go back and get my high school diploma. And then even when I went to college, 2014, my mom died in 2014. I was ordained as a pastor in 2014, and I started school at college at 2014. All this happened within that year.
Wow.
And it was the hardest time of my life because my mother was very dear to me.
Yeah.
And it was hard, but I started a hard thing, and I was fearful of going to college.
Yeah.
Now you look at this. I was 40-something years old. Like I was older.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? This was no young time.
Right.
So I had the greatest fear, and that was one thing. I feared college, so that's why it took me so long to go, because I was like, I can't do that. I'm not going to college. It won't be for me. I would say college ain't for everybody. That was always my saying, just a cop out.
Wow.
But I'm telling you, God blessed me. I got in there, and I made A's all the way through.
Wow.
Literally, it was hard because you had to discipline yourself to study.
Exactly.
You know, you couldn't go hang out and do all this other stuff, and some stuff had to get cut. And you know, my husband was understanding, and I didn't have any. My kids was grown and gone, so you know. But I just thank God that I accepted the challenge, because it was a challenge and was something that was fearful.
Exactly.
And even just hearing your story, I can see how, you know, something was instilled in you, strength, even at you being 9 years old, and you praying to God, and that you were so young and had the experience, and now today, you are here.
Yeah.
You know,
that was one thing that I had told my husband, and this, I went back to school in 2018, and so I had told him, I said, I am really smart. I was always good in school, always a A/B student in school. So academically, it was, learning was easy for me.
Right.
I said, but you know what? I don't have any proof of it. I didn't have any fruit to show just how academically smart I was.
Right.
And then that's when I had decided to go back to school as well. Because if we say things, we can say that, we're a good singer, or we're a good business person, or we are gifted and we're talented in these different areas, but we don't have no fruit. We don't have any fruit behind it. And not just the fruit, but the character that goes with you.
Absolutely.
Because our fruit can take us but so far, but it's our
character that's going to keep us
going to keep us in that
Absolutely.
Position. And so I realized that I needed some fruit behind what I was saying.
Yes.
And it was one thing that God had told me in my prayer time, that He said, I'm going to make you business savvy. I'm going to make you business savvy. God was going to teach me every step of the way. And so God, He gives me just little things to do, and then you do that. If God gave us the whole picture all at one time, it would be scary.
Yes.
It would be too overwhelming for us, and we wouldn't be able to handle it. So that's why He told me the first thing, just go to school first. Now you take your final exam. Get your you have to get the name of your business and so forth for the state. I did that. Okay. Now you know what you're gonna. Now as you have these insurance companies, I got credentialed through a host of different insurances and Medicaid and so forth. Okay. Now you do that step. Okay. Now you know what, when you start getting these payments, you're gonna need an account. So develop a relationship with the bank. Okay. And I did that. And then now he said, now just save your money and just work it and just, get the experience of counseling. And I did that for 2 years. And then at that appointed time, it was time to do it full time. But I had already been working the plan.
So let's talk about maybe a stuck place. Was there ever a stuck place during this process where you wanted to give up, or you just tapped in and you stayed in? Was there any?
For me, for my mindset, the way that I am, I'm very task oriented, very organized. And so once I decided this journey, I stuck with it.
Right.
Now, I will say this. I have an amazing husband. Absolutely amazing. I don't think any woman could ask for something better because he was so supportive. When I had to study, he was cooking.
Right, right.
He was cleaning the best that he could.
The best that he could.
Yeah,
we know
he
that.
took. Now he was pastoring at the time, so we had a church.
Okay.
So he still pastored. Sometimes with our youth, they would have like fair night. He would take them. I'd be at home studying,
right,
and he would take the youth and our kids there. And so, but his support during this time was just absolutely amazing, and I would not have been able to do what I had done.
Absolutely.
Because I didn't have to worry about coming home and taking care of things there.
Absolutely.
I was, I got to study. I had a door shut, and then they know if I get them this look,
yeah.
I'm studying, I'm taking the test.
Yes,
Leave me alone for a minute.
Yes.
But my family, even my children, they were supportive as well. So I had a very awesome support system that helped me through that 4-year period. And so that question of getting stuck, no, I didn't get stuck because I had the support there. And then mentally, I had this plan. And I'm the type of person, once I got my plan, I'm going.
Right, right.
Nothing will be, I'm such a determined type of person,
Right.
Nothing would have been able to stop me. Yeah.
That is really great. And I was thinking earlier because I watched something about what's his name? I can't even think of his name, but it was a talk show, and they were talking about a situation, and this man was so transparent on this show, and I was just sitting there in awe. Because I'm thinking about, and he talked about how, you can't be that way in a church setting. Like, they treat you bad, is what he was saying. They couldn't handle it. And when I think about counseling or going to therapy, like, you can go into that therapy session and you can talk about anything. And you can rest assured that it's not going to come out that room.
Exactly.
But even in that place, when people come and they get healed, then my prayer is always that they're able to have a place like the Mod Spot to come and share their story, and it be a safe place.
Exactly.
We know that everybody got an opinion about something, but I promise you, if you come and you share, you help somebody.
You're exactly right.
And it's good to know that we have somebody that can relate to us and see that we're not alone.
Exactly.
That we're not we're not by ourselves. So one question I want to ask you, what are some of the situations that you deal with more, like a lot, when people come in? Like, is it emotional stuff, past stuff, from young years, or kind of what's the heaviness in that?
Oh boy, all of it is emotional.
Right.
There's always that emotional component there, and it's dealing with something that has happened in their past.
Right.
Whether through family, how they were raised, and so forth, and it's really their perception of that experience.
Right.
Okay. Right. And what that perception is speaking to them about that experience. And so we all have some negative ways of viewing situations. We did an exercise earlier today, and everybody had their own perception on, what that felt like on our back.
Right.
And, when we looked at the picture and the final result, or we looked at each person's interpretation of it, it was all different.
All different.
And so in life, we all have different perceptions of what our experience was like when we're growing up.
Right.
And so really trying to untangle some of the negative or distorted thoughts that we have about those experiences is really what's challenging. Because you're
Absolutely.
dealing with that person's core belief. Because that their core belief could tell them, I'm not good enough. And so they have been raised to believe, I'm not good enough. And now when they grow older, they still feel like, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy of this. And I was speaking with a gentleman this past week, and he was raised in foster care. His mom just couldn't take care of him. And when he was in foster care, he was adopted, but they beat him. And he had to be removed. And then, he was placed in foster care after foster care. But in his whole life, I'm not good enough. I'm not deserving. And so this past week, he was saying, you know what? I deserve this. I deserve this. I'm worthy. I'm worthy to be able to go. They were going somewhere. I'm worthy of this. I deserve this. I deserve to be happy. And so people changing their perspectives on life, untangling some of those negative thinking, those thoughts into something that's more positive. And you know what most people want? I want to be happy. That's the bottom line of
Yes,
most of my
ma'am.
clients.
Yes.
I want to be happy.
Yes, yes.
I want to be happy.
Absolutely.
And, and that's a general statement because happiness for everybody is different.
That's
And so even when they give me that broad statement, it's like that can mean anything. But as a therapist, I'm not just listening to that statement, but I'm listening in every session and then I may bring out, you know what? Because when they talk about different things, I realize, wow, that really made you happy.
yeah.
Why don't you try doing more of that? Because that really made you happy. And so the same person, they started going back to school and they're taking up a trade. And you should just see their glow. Wow, that made me so happy just doing that. And with life, we had, the message today, things happen.
Yes.
So yes, this week I'm ecstatic and I'm on top of the world. But then the next week, something is said, and it's, it pulls you right back to the past.
Absolutely.
Of not being
Those
good
triggers.
enough.
Those triggers.
You're exactly right.
Yes.
And so now I have to fight through that trigger to get back to this place
Yes.
of happiness.
Yes, and it's so important that you realize your triggers.
Oh,
Whatever
yes.
your triggers, you need to realize them, and you need to ask yourself the question: why did I feel that way about that?
Mm-hmm.
Why did I have that reaction about?
Why did that bother me?
Yeah, why did it bother me? And you have to ask yourself these questions because it brings along healing. I think about people that have carried so many things for so many years, and they get into different relationships, whether they get married or whether it's a church related or work related, and it hinders them in every relationship when they're not healed, when they don't receive that healing. And that's why I think seeing a therapist is so key and so important, because therapists help you process. They help you think, and then also just think in a different way, because we think the way we think, like you said, that core belief. But sometimes our core belief is not. It's not good.
It's not, and that's the problem.
Yes.
Because, like I said, that one core belief is I'm not good enough.
Yes.
I'm not worthy. I don't deserve this.
Right.
I don't deserve to be happy.
Right.
Because they have experienced so much
trauma. That's
so
right.
much negativity
Yes,
in life.
yes.
And so those life circumstances begin to speak to you and define who you are.
Right.
And it tells them, I don't deserve anything good in life.
Right.
Everything, whatever you do, and it's all bad, that's what I deserve because that's all that I got.
Right.
But until you can transform your thinking and
right.
realize, no, that was wrong. I do deserve this. That situation does not define who I am.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we have to reframe the way that we think about situations.
Right.
Our current, as we're going into these current situations, because this is not that.
Not that. Absolutely. I love that. This is most definitely not that. And I think about, because myself being in therapy, because I really encourage everyone that if you've don't have no resources and you've tried everything and you've talked and it's not working, see a therapist. Because even in my experience with going to therapy, like, she allowed me to process the way I feel about things and the things that have happened to me, and those things were brought up, you know, and I had to go back. I had to go back and dig up, childhood stuff. And I began to share in that atmosphere of things that I hadn't shared with no one. And I began to process those things and really put the right definition to those things that happened to me. That's not who I am. That's just something that I experienced. And I have a choice. I don't have to stay there. But and the most important thing too, like even in my therapy, I want to be happy. Like, I just want to be happy. You know, I heard someone tell me the other day, maybe a couple weeks ago, not the other day, a couple weeks, you know, as Christians, we're going to go through, we know that, but we don't have to be through all the time.
You're exactly right.
Like, we need to come off of air.
Right.
You know, and that's my prayer. God, like, no, I want to live some of this right here.
Exactly.
You know, I am living this life to live again, but however come, God, I want to be happy. I want to experience happiness. And going to therapy, I won't take anything less. If it does not make me happy, if it does not value who I am, I'm just not accepting that anymore.
Exactly.
You know, therapy helped me not to accept things I don't want to accept.
Exactly.
And give me a way, give me a voice to say, no, we're not doing that.
Exactly.
We're not doing it like that.
You're exactly
because that
right.
don't work for me. That hurts me.
Exactly.
You know, that brings me pain.
Exactly.
And if you're bringing me pain, then you're no good for me.
Exactly.
I can't just accept that like I've accepted it before.
Exactly.
So that's
You're
what
exactly
therapy
right.
did for me. It pulled that. But I'm bold anyway. But when it came to me, I had a problem with taking care of me. I could take care of everybody else.
That is the main thing of therapy that I find.
Yes.
Is that we take care of everybody else. And
Right.
I always use the analogy of the flight attendant.
Right.
You know, when you get on an airplane, the first thing they're going to talk about is if that airplane loses cabin pressure.
Right.
There's some mass that's going to
That's
drop.
right. That's
And
right.
then you know who they tell you to put it on first? Yourself. And then you put it on your child or the next person. But as mother, and especially as women, we're trying to put the mask on everybody
That's
else.
right.
We
That's
want
right.
everybody else to be taken care
That's
of.
right.
And we are crumbling.
Yes.
And we are falling apart.
Yes.
And so the first thing that I teach, I talk to my clients about is self-care.
Yes.
Take care of yourself. Spend some time with you. Writing.
Right.
You know, affirmation statements.
Right.
You know, just loving you. You know, a bubble bath, a hot shower with
Right,
some scents
right.
in it. You know, some lit
Yes.
candles.
Yes.
Do something that you enjoy, whether it's cooking a meal,
Right.
whatever it is that you enjoy.
That's right.
You do that
Yes.
first.
Yes.
Then you take care of your children.
Right.
Because you are really the foundation
That's
of it.
right.
And if the foundation is not
It's
strong,
not strong.
everything else is going to crumble.
Yes, ma'am.
So you have to take care of you.
Have
And you
to.
know what I ask a lot of them? What do you like? I don't know.
That was me.
What do you like? I don't know. I don't know what I like. You could tell me a whole list of
What you
don't
didn't like. Yes, ma'am. I got a whole list. I got a whole page full. But if you ask me
But
what I like,
we're so used to the negativity part of it.
yes.
But what do you like? Because you know why? Because we never take time to love on us. And that's why it's so hard for you to figure out what you like.
Lord.
Because you don't take the time out to love you.
Yes. When my therapist asked me that particular question, I could not answer it.
Yeah,
And literally,
most of my clients can't.
I had to come back and still was trying to process, like, what do I like? I was like, I know what I don't like, but I
Right.
don't, you know. And that is so true. Like, I had to learn, and I'm still learning me. I'm
Yeah,
in this
it's
phase
exactly.
of learning me
Exactly.
and loving me and doing the things that makes me happy, doing the things that brings peace. My children are grown. I'm not worried about that. I pray for them and my grandkids. But I'm really on this journey with taking care of me. You know, doing what is necessity for me so I won't die.
Exactly.
And I'm not talking about a physical death.
Exactly.
I'm talking about walking around here dead.
You're exactly
You know,
right.
so I have to do, and I want healthy. I want to be healthy.
Exactly.
I don't want no toxic nothing. I want to be healthy in everything
Exactly.
that I do. From the
Exactly.
little thing, from cleaning my house, I want to be healthy.
Exactly.
You know, from in every relationship, just being healthy in that, not being sick. I'm tired of being sick and and being in relationships, any relationships.
Exactly.
And I'm at a point now, and I thank God for the My Spot, a moment of transparency, because and let me tell you something. I was talking to Bishop last week. I think it was maybe last week or a couple of weeks. And I was like, you know, I get so fearful because God have me to be so open. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like, God, you want me to tell that? And you want me to, he had me to be open. But when I think about when people come to me and say, oh my God, you blessed me so much. Mm-hmm. You know, and it don't have to be somebody coming to do something in front, but if they tell me that, because that's my story. Yes. You know, that's my transparency. So they make me feel good and saying, you really helped me. Mm-hmm. And I just thank God for being able to come here, even you, Sharon. Like, I would have never known that you were 17 and you got pregnant and you was married and you was divorced by 22. I wouldn't have known that. Right. So to see you in gleaning where you are now, but that's where you came from, that is a blessing to so many people. Yeah, those of you who are in the audience that don't give up on your dreams. Exactly. Don't stop dreaming. No matter what has happened to you, no matter what's you've been through. She and myself are living examples that you don't have to quit. That's right. Because you got what he talked about, a stretch. You don't have to quit. You're not destroyed. That's what Pastor Zach preached this morning. Shout out Pastor Zach. That's my brother. Awesome. Yes. So, you know, you don't have to stop at that. Exactly. And you have to, if you've ran out of resources, this is so key to me, and it's very dear to me because I need people to understand. If you ran out of resources, you don't have any, please check into seeing a therapist. Yes. That can help you process your life so you can get out of that stuck place. That's right. Because God has so much more for you. There's so much more. You are great, and you need to be able to release that to someone and allow the therapist to help you process that through so you can be the best you that you can possibly be. That's right. So if you are in the Danville area, amen, y'all seek out to her and hope.
Look, anywhere in Virginia, because telehealth. Yes. I tell you, there was some... COVID was awful. Yes. But I tell you, it did open the door for telehealth. Right, right. Because before, we could not offer video sessions. That's right. You know, but you could be anywhere in Virginia and have therapy sessions. Right, so, yes, definitely reach out.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, this was so wonderful. This was so great. We really appreciate Anissa Howerton for coming with us today. So we pray that you have enjoyed. We pray that it's something that you can glean to, something that you heard that can cause you to know that you are a winner. Even if you feel defeated, you are a winner. And if you need some help, extra resources, you ran out, please look into seeing a therapist because it will help you. It has truly helped me. And that's a moment of transparency. I don't mind sharing because it's making me to become a better person. So stay tuned to the next time. Thank you for sharing with us on today, and thank you for watching. God bless you.
Howerton Empowerment Life Coaching. Someone listening to you to help navigate you through. Howerton Empowerment Life Coaching. You find your strategy to win here.